Word up, word up. Peace. I'm just talking y'all in. Alright. We about to get it on. Sit back, relax. Give it to you free. No tax. Alright. Alright. Peace. What's happening, good people? This gift here for Pay Us No Mind. And today, we got a few topics we're going to cover, man. One, we talking about the Spotify algorithm recommending AI-generated songs. Now, last show we talked about this AI stuff, man. And this is just an extension of some of the things that I was talking about. But also, we have an instance of AI for good, right? With the country singer, Randy Travis, I believe his name was, right? And him being able to use AI for good. And then we're going to talk about why we're not going back to buying music, no matter how bad artists want and need it to happen. And then we might take a look at how much artists are earning from Spotify using like a little script that I created where we could just plug in numbers and it'll do the calculations for us. Now, as always, I'm gonna check the system, make sure we're good to go. Then we're going to dive into the topic at hand. Now, y'all know how this go down. I run my mouth for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever have you. Then we dive into the live chat where y'all get to ask questions and all of that good stuff. If you want to become a member, you can, to support the channel, send super chats, all of that good stuff. You know, join me on Substack. Today we have a special guest. My wife is in the building, Shorty Rock. Give it up for her.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hold on. They can't hear you, babe. All right, go ahead, say something.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Now, as I check this system, I'm gonna let y'all hear a message from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by DPM Distribution. One low price, unlimited releases, unlimited stores, plus distribution to specialty stores, including Audio Mac and SoundCloud, YouTube and social media monetization, music video distribution, and publishing administration, all in one destination. Want to know more about DPM Distribution? Click the link in the description box. Okay, so somebody, hold on, I'm doubling up. So somebody saw that Spotify was recommending AI generated music, and they decided to say something about it. Now, it wasn't an article, it was just something that was like mentioned. But this is the AI platform, or the AI music that they were that they were recommending, right? So let me take a look at this. That's my little system. Yeah, so you see this here, obscurest vinyl, and the titles of these songs, right? I glued my balls to my butthole again. My arms are just effing stuck like this. Rubbing and tugging my nips. All of these are silly song titles. Now, in a sense, we can say that this stuff is kind of like National Lampoons. I haven't listened to it, so I can't say here or there. But this just exposes what I was saying about the issue with AI. And that is that it lends itself to people just doing anything. And the problem isn't necessarily that, like, from a creative standpoint, that it'll replace artists, like recording artists and producers. It's from a business point, because these algorithms and these record companies, all they care about is money. That's it, money. And Spotify only cares about what keeps people on the platform consuming ads. So they don't care if it's music, if it's this kind of music, if it's ebooks, if it's podcasts, whatever keeps people there consuming ads is all they care about. So if people are listening to this, then Spotify is going to serve it up. And the more this gets served up, the less you get served up. And with everybody kind of streaming, this is where artists are making their living, you know, from the standpoint of getting discovered and things of that nature. Now, we'll talk about the money aspect of it in a minute, and the alternative and things of that nature. But yeah, this is crazy in a sense, right? Now, hold on. All right, babe, you got any commentary on this?
Oh, you know where I stand. I'm team human all day. I don't know. This AI is becoming very sophisticated, and it's worrisome to me on a lot of levels. I think we need to stop this at every entry point, and art would be the first line of defense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Art seems to be the first line of attack, really. You know, it's like they're coming for art. Like, that is the ground zero here. You know, this is what they're coming for. And I mean, listen, there's an end of this. There's an end of this that is bad, but you also see people using it for good. And that is the other topic that we have today with the country singer. But it's just the fact that there's so many people that will use it for bad that I don't know how good the good actually is and can be, you know? Yeah, so that's the crazy part of it. Now, let's take a look at that. Some of the good. So you got here this story. Randy Travis gets his voice back in a new Warner AI music experiment. For the first time since a 2013 stroke left country singer Randy Travis unable to speak or sing properly, he has released a new song. He didn't sing it though. Instead, the vocals were created with AI software and a surrogate singer. The song, called Where That Came From, is very bit the kind of folksy, sentimental tune I came to love as a kid when Travis was at the height of his fame. The producers created it by training an unnamed AI model, starting with 42 of his vocal isolated recordings. Then, under the supervision of Travis and his career-long producer, Cal Lenning, fellow country singer James Dupree laid down the vocals to be transformed into Travis's by AI. Now, all I remember of Randy Travis was just like every year when I was a kid, watching the Grammys and just seeing him clean up, just like take mad awards home. So he used to win a lot. So, I mean, I didn't listen to his music, but that's one thing I remember. So I know he was big. Him and Reba McEntire, like those two, was cleaning up. So, I mean, you got instances like this where it can give people like him a new life musically. And I heard about somebody talking about Beanie Siegel using it in the same way, where it's like his vocal cords are damaged somehow and he wants to use it so he could rap again. And then you got other artists like the DOC who got into a car accident and had his vocals messed up. And he would love to still do music, but it's like, well, I can't do it, my voice. So now this opens the door to those guys being able to continue to make music and things of that nature, So you got that. Hold on, yeah.
Can I jump in?
Hold on, baby. Go ahead.
I just want to, what did the kids say? Piggyback off of what you said before. Yes, there could be some good that comes from these technologies, but the cost, right? Like, depending on how the majority of people tend to use these things or the way it would trend, like at what cost is this good? That's quoting with my fingers in case people don't see my fingers quoting. This trajectory is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of the situation is, it's because what it comes down to in a sense of somebody like Randy Travis and Beanie Siegel and those types of artists is, it's like, who owns the voice? Like you're dealing with a record company, and the record company with these agreements, they have name and likeness rights. So once you record your voice with AI, they're entitled to that voice. And you're talking about your legacy here. You're talking about your essence, where it's like, dude, even if your family owned it, you pass away, some people, they don't have no kids or nothing. You got a sister down on her luck. Right? And next thing you know, they got your voice selling Doritos and all sorts of stuff that you wouldn't support if you was alive. But hey, now they got your voice and they can have you say anything. I love Donald Trump. Whatever it is they want to say, they can do with your voice. So it's like, it's a hot button topic, man. And it's going to be interesting to see where things go with this. Because it's like on one end, you got some people who are like, ooh, I could sing again. And on the other end, you got the record companies and streaming like, ooh, money. So much money. Money that we could take from people that we don't have to use to pay people, because we could create music that we control 100% and keep the profits of 100%. So you got those people. It's almost like a triangle of evil, because you got the record companies trying to box out the artists so they could take maximum profit. You got the streaming platforms who would love to box out the artists and the record companies so they could keep all of the profit. You got recording artists who would love to box out producers so they don't have to pay them for beats and stuff like that. You got producers that would love to box out recording artists so they can keep all of the money and not have to worry about anything with them. Everybody is kind of like, ooh, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Like, everybody is kind of like looking at it from that standpoint. How can I get over on this guy so I can keep all of the money to myself, you know? And at the end of the day, some people are sitting back and they're like, yo, like, even the people who criticize it and say this is wrong, a lot of them are like privately like making plans, you know, because they see the opportunity that it presents and what it can allow them to do. And I mean, the reality of the situation is it's very powerful, man. You know, like, you could do stuff that you couldn't normally do for artists without means, I would say, you know? So it's like an artist without means doesn't have the resources to be able to pull in the artists that can like take their music to the next level, let's say. Because it's like the reality of the situation with music that gets created, like these hit records that we hear, there's a lot of people involved with that process, man. You know, so somebody comes in and they say, hey, I want to do a song. And they want to fly in this musician, this session musician, and get George Benson even, you know, from like a famous jazz musician to play or whatever have you. Get this background vocalist. You know, you got people who construct these songs or make arrangements and say, no, your vocal should go here. You got engineers that be Frankensteining tracks and going back after you lay down your vocals and saying, I like this part of take 1 and I like that part of take 2. I'm gonna splice these together and get the best take and all of this different type of stuff. A lot of these things that you hear aren't like just the artist going in, laying down their vocals, and then the producer just takes it and records it and puts it out. That's what they give us, right? When we go to the studio, we pay our $60 an hour or whatever. You go lay down your vocals and they give you your, what is it, maybe a WAV file or whatever, and you take that and put it to digital distributors. But when you are operating at a higher level and you working with these people who are masters of their craft, that's not the way it works. They're all, it is a collective work, a contribution of multiple minds that go into making these amazing records. So now anybody can do that and kind of eliminate these people from the process. So from the bottom, it's like, ooh, yes, everybody now can make better music because they don't need that engineer that has that amazing ear and that amazing talent to be able to chop and place this and know where this goes and where that goes. They don't need that amazing background vocalist to bring life to the song. They don't need that session musician to come in and lay down a kick-ass guitar solo or something like that. They don't need that guy. They could just go to UDO or some other AI engine and be like, give me a guitar solo, and have 100 different ones get generated and pick the best one. Give me a background vocalist or whatever and have 101 of those get generated and pick the best one. So it's like they don't need that. And to a great effect, you can look at it and you can say, well, they couldn't afford it no way, so that shouldn't impact those people that do that stuff. But what happens is the same way that they have access to it is the same way major record companies have access to it too. And people who do music who need music for movies and people who need music for video games. Everybody has access to it. Not just the people who don't have the resources, but the people who have the resources and have the money who these people get employed by. Now they don't have to use them either. So then those people are out of work. You know, their value plummets. And you've had that recently. They just talked about doing some movie where they're like, well, this movie would have been nearly impossible to make under normal circumstances because all of the different things that went involved with it, you know, but at the same time, they recognize, hey, if they did try to make it with people, that would have employed a massive number of people, right? So you got all of these people out of work because of that situation, man, you know? So let me look into something. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, the worst part is that I heard some AI tracks the other day and it wasn't half bad. That's the scary part. Wasn't even half bad. It wasn't even like blatantly made by a computer, like the Once Upon a Time. It's getting decent. It's fair to say it's even getting good. And the better it gets, the worse positions people are going to be in. But I don't want to be like a computer hater. I see all the great things that could be as a possibility using artificial intelligence. It's just, I don't know how we would find some type of balanced medium. How do we implement it? It's like it's all coming too hard, too fast. You know, like it needs to somehow be pulled back so that we can figure out how to implement it, you know, responsibly.
As a character from Scarface once said, what'd he say? The other guy's greed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, greed wins in the end. You know, greed wins. And it's all about a fight for greed not to win. But the people who are greedy are very powerful, right? The people who are thirsty for money, they've dedicated their lives to making money, you know? And, yo, man, money dictates a lot with the world, you know? Now, that leads us to the topic of why we're not going back to buying music. So it's like artists would love for everybody to go back to buying music. And you see all these discussions and promotions and things of that nature where people are like, sell your music direct to fan, cut out Spotify and all of these streaming platforms, direct to fan. And what they disregard is the fan and what they want. It is not a one-sided marketplace. It's a two-sided marketplace. It is the person creating the product and it is the person consuming the product. And the way that that person wants to consume the product has a lot to do with the way you can sell your product. It is not just what you want to do. That is not just the scenario that you're dealing with. So this is the problem that you see with a lot of these even crypto platforms and stuff like that, where they talk about how artists can price their music at whatever price they want. Hey, you could come in here and if you want to sell your music for $100, you can. Like, that's well and good, but will people buy it for $100, right? If so, great. If not, then, yo, you got to figure out a price that people are willing to pay for it. So it's like the circumstance that we have now is streaming is a far more superior product than ownership. That's the simple fact of the matter. Ownership for most music consumers, and being honest, even for me, is very inconvenient. If I go to your website to buy a song, I download that song is on my computer, I don't even know where it is. If I know where it is, like I know all of my downloads go to my downloads folder, it is in a folder with everything that I have ever downloaded on my computer. It is not segmented into a folder for music. It is in a folder with images, videos, or so whatever else I've stored in that folder. And I gotta remember your song title in order to find it. And I might have all sorts of stuff popping up so it's like finding it is one thing. And then there is the process of like importing it into like an audio player if you use iTunes or whatever have you, and getting it in there, or if you use some other audio player, importing it in there. And then you think about it and you look at streaming and you say, okay, don't buy anything. You pay one monthly fee, have access to everything. Yeah, you don't own it, but it feels like you do. It's like renting an apartment. You know, people say, hey, you still feel like you're home. It feels like you own it. You come in, you unlock the door, you got your couch there, you got your TV there. You know, you can watch TV as long as nothing crazy happens where the house gets foreclosed and you get evicted because it got foreclosed or something. You feel like this is yours. And that is the way that consumers are operating within Spotify. They don't feel like they don't own the music. The experience is very much the same. Listen to the music whenever you want, how often you want, you know, and it's more convenient. Unlike ownership, where you have this library of music and you got to figure out how to bring it with you when you go on the road, when you get in your car. Does your phone have enough storage space? You're competing with Netflix. Music is competing with all of these different video apps and video game apps and reading apps and meditation apps and workout apps and all of this different type of stuff. For storage space, not something you got to worry about. All of your music on the streaming platform. Bang, right? Then on top of that, it's organizing and compartmentalizing everything for you. Here's all of your R&B, your favorite R&B songs in a playlist for you. Here's all of your favorite hip hop songs in a playlist for you. Here, you can shuffle your whole music library like this and your favorites. Oh, you want recommendations based on the music that you stream? Here you go. All of these different things served up for you. So the experience is incomparable to ownership. And then on the other end, technology-wise, we phased out ownership. So it's like people don't have CD players. People don't have record players. Like most of the people buying vinyl albums don't own a vinyl record player. They don't own a record player. It's more like a collector's item. So for the most part, selling music has become like charity or just fanatical, where somebody is like crazy about an artist, like obsessively crazy about an artist, where they'll buy anything they put their name on. And that's what music has kind of come down to. Charity and basically taking advantage of people's mental illnesses, you know? So it's like, it's rare that you find an instance where an artist is just selling music to fans based on supply and demand, because people don't need it. And the moment, like effectively, the only way an artist can sell music based on supply and demand is with obscurity. Like if nobody really wants it, because the moment there is demand for it, somebody's gonna upload it to YouTube or post it to a website that people can go and download it from and monetize that with ads. So, hey, now, okay, you ain't got it available. People want it. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. Everybody going to watch the videos. I'm going to make money, or at the least bring attention to myself. Same thing with a website. I put it up on a website. I make money from the ads, or at the least I bring attention to myself. So it's like, if you have demand, you're going to get undercut by other people who are trying to make money too, you know, and that is going to restrict people's need to buy it. So it's like, basically the only way people are making money from this stuff is if they're on the friends and family plan, right? Where they're selling to their friends and their family, and those people care about them, so they're not gonna go and upload it nowhere. They're gonna be like, yeah, man, I bought it, I supported you. But with that, man, you on borrowed time, because those people aren't gonna like buy every album that you put out. You put out one, they support that, they feel like they did their job as a supportive family member or friend or whatever have you. And then after that, you on your own. They looking for you to take off. It's like, okay, I supported you, now what? Are you signed? Did you get, is it on the radio? You know, have you been co-signed by anybody established? And if they don't see anything happening, they get off the train, you know? They get off the train because this train ain't moving. It's stalled. And they want to be on a winning team. And you don't look like you're winning. And they've supported you and they've done their duty. And doesn't seem like it did much for you. So they're out, you know? So it's like, that's not the way to go. That's not the plan. So it's like, what is the plan? What should artists be focusing on? Where should your attention be? And that is on, I said this before, building a brand. Because you look at, and this is why I created like the engine that I created for people to be able to see how much these artists are making. So it's like, What these artists are making from streaming is a drop in the bucket to what they making from like these endorsements where you will see like Megan Thee Stallion in a commercial for Cheetos, you know, flaming hot Cheetos or whatever, hot girls, summer hot, flaming hot Cheetos. You know, you got Ice Spice in a commercial for Sprite. You got these types of things. This is where the money is being made. You know, the money is being made through Instagram posts where some of these people can make $100,000 per post on Instagram, you know, and a lot of you guys, you might not know because it's not something that you've looked into, but you got 1,000 you got 1,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. You could get at least maybe $45 to post something on your feed. And for a lot of artists, they put up 3 or 4 posts a week and they're making more money than they would be making from Spotify. So it's like the money is in establishing celebrity to some effect. The money is in licensing, creating something that people recognize. And then once people recognize it and possibly it becomes like a cultural thing where it can be used to connect with a group of people, then it ain't about whether a song fits a movie. They find a way for it to fit because they want to tap into that culture. They want to tap into that audience. So that's what it becomes about, you know? So when you are marketing and advertising, it's not to focus on getting streams. It's not to focus on getting sales. It is to focus on promoting you. You are the product. Stream the songs that you're making in this new system are a springboard into selling the real product, which is you. You know, that's what the songs are there to do. The songs are there to help people understand your value, sell your personality, sell your story, things of that nature. And then from there, other things happen. So you look at people like Aquafina and those types of artists where they put their personality on display through their music. And then now I'm a movie star, you know? So it's like, as an artist who is like, nah, man, I don't want to do none of that. I just want to focus on music. Well, it's going to be very difficult, you know, because the landscape isn't constructed for that, to focus on just creating music. Now, you can do it. And what it comes down to is the cost, you know? So it's like if you put up a song and you only have $100 to spend and you don't get the kind of response that you need for $100, then you got to look at it and say, okay, well, I got to figure out something else, you know? So that's what it kind of comes down to. Like a lot of times when artists are talking about advertising and promoting their music, they're like, when do I stop promoting the record? You know, when do I know how much to promote a record? Things of that nature. It's all about how much you're getting back from it and at what cost, you know? So if you are getting people listening to your song and you are generating the buzz and it's not breaking the bank, like you can afford to keep going and pushing it, then things are working out. If you are spending a whole bunch of money and nothing's really happening, and when something does happen, it's costing you like $100, $200 to make that one thing happen, then you got to start making some tough decisions because it's costing you too much money to promote that particular record, you know? So it's like music is an interesting thing because unless it's controversial, something that gets people going from the standpoint that they get upset or they get happy or really sad, or it just really informs them of something that they feel like other people need to know or something like that. Music is just a very personal thing where somebody hear a song, they say, oh, I like this. You know, and even if they share it with another person, that other person might not be in the mental or emotional space that that person was in. So they listen to it and they like, I ain't really feeling it, right? Because I'm not sad. I didn't just break up with somebody. That's not the wave that I'm on, you know? So it's hit and miss to where like social media content, personalities, stuff like that is just a easier thing to pinpoint and focus on. So I mean, I'm going to see what y'all talking about, and we could tap into see what's up with some of these artists and how much they could possibly be making from streams and stuff, man. You know? So it's like, let me pull up my music royalty engine that I put this up because at first I was fooling around in Looker Studios and creating formulas in there. But then I was like, all right, cool. Let me just put up a code and put up an engine so I could just input any numbers rather than having it static. So this is what I got. So if we look at it and we say, okay, you got the R&B artist Her. Now this system is based on an average of like, because what it comes down to is you got monthly listeners, a number of monthly listeners, but the number of streams are going to be multiplied by the streams per listener. So it's monthly listeners multiplied by streams per listener, and the Spotify average royalty rate that can tell you how much an artist can make in a year. And then on top of that, it's like if they're signed, the labels take on the low end 50% of the streaming revenue. If they're a new artist, label might take around 80%. So I just based it off of the 50. So it's like, you know, you can see what the artist would make if they have a label deal and if they didn't. So we could take a look at Her. We could say, okay, well, this is how many streams or how many monthly listeners she has. 11,167,940. Now, on the accounts that I have access to, on average, an artist that has a following to some effect, it's around 3 streams per listener. That's like the monthly average, 3 streams per listener. Could be higher, could be lower, but we're gonna go with that. So we put 3 streams per listener and we see, hold on. Let me take away, I guess, the commas. See if that helps us out. There we go. Yep. So she pulls in about $1,206,137 a year in Spotify revenue. And splitting that with the label, her and her team, because remember, you know, these people have teams, business managers, things of that nature, walk away with about $603,068. Now, the thing to recognize here is that bigger artists have bigger budgets. So they owe more money to the record companies because the record companies invest money in features and big name producers and big name songwriters and everything big, you know? So music videos cost more. Putting them on tour costs a lot of money. So these artists could be owing millions of dollars to where this streaming revenue, they're not even getting this. This is going back to the record label to recoup, you know? But still, it's like this is around what's being made, right? $1 million. Now, who's another artist that we could take a look at? Let's look at Killer Mike and see what he might be making. And again, this is just a possibility, not to say that this is what these people are making definitively, because again, they could be having more streams per listener. You know, they could have a higher, I guess, split with their label or whatever have you. So there's other variables that factor into how much they could possibly be making. But yeah, you see Killer Mike from Spotify without a label, like keeping 100% of the royalties, he would be making around $332,000. That's what Killer Mike would be making. And if he had a label and he had to split that revenue with a label, it would be around $166,000, you know? So yeah, man, I mean, when you think about it, from like the magnitude of these artists and the amount of money that probably goes into creating the work, it's like, I don't know if that's a lot of money, man. You know, I mean, it's a lot of money relatively to like what a lot of people make. But I mean, listen, man, you know, when some of these people spending 50 million, I mean, Snoop talking about he charged people $100,000 for a feature, like a verse, one verse, $100,000. And I could imagine what Pharrell charges to produce something, or Dr. Dre, or some of these big producers and songwriters and stuff like that. So it's like $1 million a year. I don't know, you know, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, man, I mean, it is what it is with the AI and with the Spotify streaming royalties. It's just a matter of you guys understanding that it's a whole new world out here, and you got to move different and adapt and not just get stuck in the way you want things to be, because ultimately you'll just get left behind, you know? And it's my job to kind of help you out along. So it's like I talk about this stuff, and I mean, the reality of it is a lot of people won't and don't, because people look at it from the standpoint of not discouraging artists. And I don't want to discourage you guys. That's not my intention. I don't want to discourage anybody. I don't want to lay out a situation where it looks like things are impossible for you to survive as an artist, because that is far from the truth. The reality of the situation is, you know, even with marketing and promoting and stuff like that, what it really comes down to, above all, is community. So if you guys go out there and you find a community of supportive people, you know, be it where you're like, you know, you got these social justice warriors and stuff like that, where there's a cause and they rally around this cause, and you're making music that is the pulse of that cause, then all this other stuff doesn't apply to you. You know, if you are a part of a community of skateboarders and you are making music that represents that activity and the culture of that activity, then none of this applies to you. You can move within that community. This is what makes like gospel music and Christian rap and stuff like that so strong, and why those guys be having such a position that doesn't really like apply to the standard industry, where regular music business, they can't sell music, everybody's streaming. They can still sell music. You know, they can still sell CDs, they can still sell digital downloads, because the people who support it really support it and also care about the artist. They want to make sure that those people are making money, things of that nature. They can tour the church circuit, things like that, go to this church perform, go to that church perform. So that is the core thing, is community. You know, so if you have that and you go out there and you find that, then you can build within that. But if you don't have community, then you are subject to these rules, right? Where you got to market and promote and figure out what's going to work within this system of marketing and promoting and things of that nature. So it is just trying to get you to understand the reality of the circumstance, and not to sugarcoat things and pretend like this ain't what it is and lie to you effectively, just to like make it seem as if some service or something that I got going on, you know, I don't want to discourage you from paying for that, you know? So it's like, yo, man, the reality of the situation, pay for what you need. If you need a service, you pay for the service, not so much trying to trick you into doing that stuff, man. But yeah, it's all love, good people. So, I mean, I'm gonna get up out of here. It's hot. I'm not really a sweaty person, but I feel myself sweating somehow, man. It's almost like I'm a piece of ice cream melting in this shirt, you know? But yeah, man, I'm gonna get on up out of here. I hope everybody doing good, man. I hope you guys don't get discouraged by this. Keep your head up, stay positive, keep working, find your community, build within that community. As always, we have links to products and services we recommend in the description box. You could join us on Substack, all of that good stuff, man. You know, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Go check the kids and stuff, man. This is Gift, signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One, y'all be good. A scrub is a guy that thinks he's fly. He's also known as a buster.